Legend of the Willow. We're going to be playing episodes 5 and 6. Let's see. It says May learns what happened in Algawara, something like that. But I love this this new cover. That is just so gorgeous. I think it's the prettiest of all the new ones, and I'm very, very happy about that. Very happy to see it. So let's go ahead and get started. Last time we were lost in the woods somewhere. We stumbled across some information from somebody doing something I don't remember, but I think it'll help in the long run as far as knowing what our enemies are up to. To be sure, yeah, we discovered a new potential enemy guy that'll probably come back. Let's see. Chapter 5. Where does the wind blow from? Bleached bones. On my mind, the wind pierces my body to the heart. The road wound between terrace-covered hills where the peasants were growing rice. The tax collector's carts and the soldiers guarding them passed by and disappeared beyond another slope. They're moving from village to village collecting tribute, and they have others who follow right behind them, disguised as ordinary bandits, robbing those same villages. The Shogun's soldiers, they're organized. How could this happen? Because of them, people are doomed to starve. May's mind was occupied by what she had seen as she continued running along the edge of the forest, trying to find the stone formation. I need to find Shino Odori. After circling through the trees for a bit, the kitsune finally noticed her guide. She was waiting patiently atop a mossy boulder, her eyes shining in the darkness. I'm surprised she's still waiting there. You? May nodded as she came closer, transformed into a fox. I was starting to think you couldn't. It's better this way. Beautiful. A fox should have silky fur. It can't be furless. Maybe you'll start eating fresh food soon. Absolutely not. Did you find the comb? Yeah, I got it. May took a step closer, crouched, and dropped the comb she was holding in her teeth on the snow. The cave dweller eagerly took the jewelry, pressed it to her chest, and spun around. You found it. Thank you, thank you. No magic. Smart, bold, cunning. Cutest foxy. I remember our agreement, and I will repay you. Is it time to return? I'll lead you back. I actually don't remember why we were doing this. Navigating through the forest turned out to be more convenient as a fox. May no longer had to bend down constantly, avoiding low-hanging branches. It was easier to make way through the dense thicket, and her tail was handy on the slippery stones and fallen trunks. It helped her maintain balance. Despite this, the return journey took a bit longer, but May was sure that it would have taken even longer to climb the mountains in her human form. She moved quickly on soft paws, listening to the night sounds of the forest. The soldiers from the camp did not leave her thoughts. They wouldn't leave any witnesses, no doubt about that. I'm already far away, they can't see me, but this is better anyway. Only when she reached the cave, hidden from the outsiders, was May able to regain her usual appearance. Shino Odori immediately turned her attention to their agreement. I will find out what can be done with the bridge and tell you. Return tomorrow evening. Thank you. Glad to help, Lady Shino Odori. Okay. Cool. Takao had advised against walking around the outskirts of the clan village of Lone. However, there was no one to accompany May. Satoshi, of course, had not waited all this time at the entrance to the cave, and May considered it inappropriate to ask Shino Odori to approach the clan village. Tired from her long walks through the forest, May focused on moving quickly before fear overwhelmed her resolve to return. I should meet with Takao as soon as possible, or wait for Takao at Chongon's. We might as well go meet with him. Sorcerer was at his home. Greetings. He gestured for her to enter. Make yourself at home, May. He lingered at a chest, removing a large scroll container. May caught a glimpse of its contents. Historical treatise. Great. May approached the table. A silver tray drew her attention. Upon it lay several rolled up notes and a dozen grains of rice dyed in different colors. Next to them, in a separate pile, lay sheets of paper with the outlines of symbols or patterns. The sorcerer whispered something, and the peculiar still life burst into flames. The paper crumbled to ash, and the rice turned black. The shinobi waved his hand, dispelling the smoke, and put away the tray. You've just returned? Yes, I decided it would be wrong to keep you waiting. It's fluent our relationship. A slight smile creased the corners of his mouth. And then he immediately grew serious again. Any news? She bowed. Yes. I managed to negotiate with the yokai Shino Odori. She will now help with the bridge. I hope it works. We're to meet tomorrow. Great. You have done a great service to the clan. Thank you. Earlier choices influenced Mei's relationship with Takao. What choices? Takao, that isn't all. I saw something strange not far from here, and it has nothing to do with the yokai. He'll doubtless be curious about the Shogun's unusual samurai. Share as many details as possible, be brief, focusing on key information. Seems more passionate, right? Yeah. Mei tried not to miss anything, conveying a colorful picture of what had happened. The sorcerer listened without interrupting, and while a detailed description of the soldiers' appearances may have piqued his interest, the way the wind blew through the trees to produce mysterious, ominous shadows was likely less intriguing. The head of the clan asked about the commander with the sky. How tall was he? Mei thought for a moment, then raised her hand above her head. Around this height. Takao asked a few more questions. She recalled everything she could, then added. I know his name. Haruko Igashira. Marvelous. Wait, because I got the name? I think because I didn't get caught or something. He nodded approvingly. Very good, Mei. You saved us the trouble of finding out who he is. Lost in thought, the sorcerer rubbed his chin. Mei's eyes disobediently flickered over the fresh bandages on his palm. Would I wish to master magic, given such a price? Very interesting. Taxes aren't paid in winter. It's horrible. Why they're doing this under the Shogun's banner. The audacity. This seems kind of passionate. I'm just trying to get the passionate choices. I don't know. It's horrible too. Let's try this way. It caught my eye the first time. Yes. It's unheard of. How could they even dare? I understand you're surprised, Mei. An authority must be looking out for them. Otherwise, they would have been discovered long ago. I believe your reasoning is correct, but it's too early to draw conclusions. The corners of his lips creased, but his eyes remained serious. I received a letter from Hong. They are returning. A letter? How? Already? Already? Yes, Hong chose the right informants to contact first. Wonderful. However, you must be tired. You should rest. I wonder if I missed a point there, but I don't know what I would have missed a point in. The next day, Satoshi took Mei to the entrance of the cave once more. Someone was already waiting for her. Someone? Oh, Shino. Greetings, Foxy. Shino Odori. Thanks again for your help. Here. The yokai raised her hand. A silver comb lay in her palm. I want to show myself to you. She then gathered her matted hair in a bun and fixed it in place with the comb. Mei could feel the magic with her body. A slight tingling sensation enveloped her skin, as if from a very coarse wool blanket. She was expecting an instant transformation like her own, but Shino Odori changed differently. Oh! Oh, no! I'm missing it! No! I missed it, no! I'm pretty sure I missed it. Hold on. Give me 2 shakes. Oh no, I pressed the wrong button. That sucks. Go down. Okay. I have it right side up, not sideways. I think I can make it work. Okay. Her eyes for the last had changed. Shino Adori smiled at May. Whoa! Buddy. Not only did the yokai's appearance change, but also her diction. Her voice became ordinary, human. Pretty, huh? Yeah, very. I like being liked. I thought you might be interested to see why you infiltrated Ryohei's house. A wonderful comb, isn't it? She turned her head slightly, showing off the silver spider that adorned her hair. Indeed. A fair exchange. I have fulfilled my promise. The shinobi can repair the bridge. Let them know. It won't be broken anymore. The comb suits you, or thank you. The comb suits you? And so does disguise. Appearances. Deception. Do you like the real me less? May tried to avoid the provocative question. I only find it unusual. Shino Adori laughed. And unlike you better what to tell. Whether a yokai is clever or stupid, dangerous or harmless, beautiful or not so much, we stay the same. You always know what to expect. People don't change their appearance, but their soul. Thank you for the warning. Goodbye, Fox May. I'll be glad to meet you again. Okay, interesting. Later, May began helping Chang'an. Although the old man didn't ask, May wanted to repay him somehow for letting her stay in his house. For a few days now, she had been grinding herbs into powders using a hand mill, sorting out bags of berries and grains, and checking if any bugs had gotten into them. She went over to KAZU's house several evenings in a row, but she did not dare to enter in his absence, allowing herself only to walk on the nearby terrace. Pacing along the wooden bridge over the water, she thought about how he trains, how many hours he spends looking at the stone she was looking at now. She tried to imagine his day-to-day life. A sudden realization came to her. Nothing would happen to him, and he would definitely return. She forbade herself from thinking otherwise. Time after time, she peered into the reflections of the clouds drowning in the dark water and thought of the gatekeeper, her mother, the other kitsune who were killed, and Lady Kanuya, about the difficult feeling that had settled in her heart thanks to the man with evil, cold eyes. May gratefully accepted the few days that unfolded without any extraordinary events. Gradually, the blisters began to disappear from her delicate feet, which were still not used to long treks. The old ninja gave her an ointment that quickly healed the skin of her hands, cracked from dampness and fire. Some mornings, she would encounter Azumi going for a run. She saw Takao only twice, when May was practicing magic in the courtyard, and when the head of the clan came to Chang'an. Both times, the sorcerer's expression was strange, either thoughtful or anxious, or perhaps he was simply observing. Putting aside some spoiled star anise, May stood up and stretched. She opened the window. It was getting dark outside again. From the next room, she heard the voice of Satoshi checking in on Chang'an. It became clear from what she had overheard that KAZU had returned. It wasn't late yet, so May dressed without a second thought, intent on going to greet the ninja. And to know how he is. Is everything okay? I hope he'll be glad to see me. A cracked voice called out to her at the door. Don't go to him. She was so confused that she did not even ask what he meant. Why? Just don't. What are these secrets I won't say? Maybe he was hurt? Thoughts started racing through her mind. So Satoshi came, maybe he's badly injured and needs medicine. Realizing that her speculation would torment her, May bowed. Grandpa Chang'an, thanks for the advice, but I'll go anyway. The old man chewed his lips and waved his hand. May slipped outside. If I'm too much of a rush, I'll arrive before him, flushed and out of breath. That will be an excessive display of emotion. Completely unnecessary. I can't overstep the bounds of decency, despite what happened between us. Was what happened between us decent? Once near the house, May approached to knock. The outer door leading to the entryway was open. The sound of a voice made her peek inside and then back away. Whatever you want, I'm yours. The air caught in May's lungs. Her heart sank as if not wanting to beat anymore. May walked away from KAZU and Azumi in a daze. Away. Horrible. Chunga knew everything. Never will I believe a man again. This is the first time I found May to be questionable. Like, there's been a lot of stuff going on already that's just like not everything as it is as it appears. And it's like, I feel like Chunga would have told her that. Or something else as a story. Come on, and just because we hear Azumi saying that whatever you want, I'm yours, Azumi will do anything. Like, she's super conniving. She didn't even wait to hear what KAZU said in response. So this is the first time I found her to be acting stupid. After a few steps, she stopped dead in her tracks. Her eyes narrowed dangerously as she concentrated on the magic within herself. I won't let you do this to me. She turned around and, not entirely understanding what exactly she wanted to do, went back. What the fuck is she doing? She heard a familiarly coarse voice. And don't you ever dare. But KAZU, we... She didn't get to finish her thought. Restless one, there is no we. If you touch me again without permission... So I'm saying, like... Like, why did you even... And what the fuck was she about to do? Go in and magic him to death? Like, what the hell? I let my imagination get the best of me. Yeah, that was like probably the stupidest thing she's done in this story so far. It's like, May, just be yourself. You don't need to act like the other stupid girls. Like, she don't need to act like the girl from Dracula Love Story. We got enough of that in that story. Like, you don't need to be that girl. Like, that's never been you. Like, I don't know why you would start now. May did not wait any longer. She knocked loudly, making her presence known. Yes? The kitsune went in. You? May smiled sweetly and greeted her politely. Good evening. Despite May's appearance, KAZU's eyes were on Azumi. I won't regret it. I'll do what I do to anyone who starts ruining my life. Azumi lifted her head sharply, then walked out without looking at May. KAZU pushed open the inner door leading from the entryway to the house in one motion. You can even feel his bad mood in the air. May took off her shoes, accepting the silent invitation. Not knowing what to say, she asked, "Is this not the right time?" The ninja's jaw twitched in annoyance. Yes. She felt a rush of embarrassment. Then maybe I should leave. He looked at her point blank, his words venomous. Why did you come then? Just see you, honestly? So you've seen me. What then? Without waiting for an answer, the shinobi continued. What are you trying to achieve? What do you want from me? May looked down. What kind of relationship are you looking forward to? What exactly do you expect of me? As May listened to his angry questions, she recalled how he, injured and bleeding, had carried her in her fox form to escape their pursuers. How he had been delirious in a fever, tormented by visions. How he had returned north as soon as she wrote. She approached him, looking into the now piercing eyes of a man who had become very important to her. She said softly, "Stay by my side." He hugged her gently but tightly, his voice a soft whisper. Sorry, May. May felt a sudden lump in her throat. Without trying to free herself from KAZU's arms, she nodded. They stood for a long time in the middle of the room, embracing each other. Flames flickered silently on the hearth. The wind rustled outside, sowing snow dust and breaking the silence. Then the shinobi said, I brought you a gift. I'll bring it in. Wait here. I'm wondering what happened to him. Like, I feel like someone kind of betrayed his trust a little bit, or like they were pretending like they wanted something from him and then they used him for something or something like that. I don't know. That was interesting. When he returned, he handed her a large flat box. May take a guess. It's a kimono? Yes, to match your fan. As she opened the gift, she noted, usually it's done the other way around. I ordered it before. I would have found out what yokiya you were in and sent it, but I didn't have to. I was in the area and it happened to be ready, so I collected it. May straightened out the outfit. She had never seen anything like it, even among the finest clothes in the school. Stunned by this gift, she looked at KAZU. It's incredible. It was specially made for me? Yes. I learned that it's important for a geisha to have fine kimonos of her own. May bowed deeply before speaking. Oh, thank you. It's such an expensive gift, but why, KAZU? I have my reasons. He changed the subject, not giving her a chance to thank him further. Would you like some tea? I love to brew some. I went back on the last time he made tea. She's like, yeah, that's incorrect. Man chuckled. Good. Nikitsune did not ask about Azumi, afraid to ruin his mood again. But without going into great detail, she told him about becoming acquainted with the local yokai, Shino Adori. After a while, May was preparing to head back. The ninja was probably tired from the road and he needed to rest. Or we could stay. When she said she had to go, KAZU calmly inquired, won't you stay? Yes? May, refusing to believe that such a question could be posed so calmly, asked, what do you mean? KAZU shook his head, his slight mocking veiling a soft smile. He asked more specifically, would you like to stay here for the night? Or longer? She felt her cheeks begin to glow with embarrassment, trying to look at his neck, his cheekbones, his lips, quickly, so as not to change her mind. She blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Grandpa Chungan will worry. What am I saying? What does Chungan have to do with any of this? KAZU didn't even bother pretending to believe her excuse. Afraid then? The shinobi straightened a disobedient lock of her hair, his fingers brushing against her earlobe and creating a wave of goosebumps. I'll walk you back. Oh. All the way through the village, May trying to think about what would happen if she accepted KAZU's offer. She wasn't doing too well. From the doorway, she heard Chang'an say, I told you so. Look at you, so rosy, and don't tell me that it's because of the cold. He said some things that made your cheeks burn? Huh? I warned you not to go. KAZU was often angry after working. For many years I have known him. Better to let him sleep it off first. She sighed to herself. So that's what he meant. Yeah, I don't think he was like intentionally like, oh yeah, he's sleeping around with somebody else, so it's like, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. Then wishing the old man a good night made her take a closer look and try on the kimono. It's magnificent. Oh, so cute. I love the fox on it. That's such a pretty color. Why can't change my appearance? It's because they keep putting me in specific clothes, but I just want to change my makeup. The next days passed and The next days passed in much the same way as the previous ones. May continued helping Chang'an and tried not to bother the shinobi or appear outside without reason. When she was alone, she danced so as not to lose her skill and flexibility. Her evenings changed, engraving themselves in her memory so that it was impossible to fall asleep for a long time after. KAZU would take her away with him, and then there were no words, only looks, and the touch of his bald fingers and kisses. He would skillfully and unobtrusively cease the caresses when the presence of clothes began to feel like a nuisance. Then he would take her home to Chang'an. These tender exchanges became more forthright each evening. Her body reacted to the slightest touch. Embarrassment, the desire to touch, intoxicating caresses, breathlessness, his withdrawal, confusion again, incomprehension, broken hanging phrases about nothing. Farewells, unexplained anger. A night during which even the bedsheets disturbs the impossibly sensitive skin, waiting for the sun to set again. The next morning, May decided to diversify, figuring out how to braid her hair in a new way. Okay, black with 2 sticks, chestnut with long bangs. Hair almost looks green. Okay, now I know there's definitely colors in there. I like this one. Satisfied with the result, May went out onto the porch to sweep away the snow. Her routine on this morning made her smile. I'm not capricious. I simply put myself in a good mood before beginning work. The old ninja, who had gone somewhere in the pre-dawn twilight, appeared from around the corner. They're back. Hong and your friend with the pony. MASAMUNE? Yes, him. Grandpa Chang'an, he is a horse. What difference does it make, huh? Dragging the poor animal along mountain paths, Hong was swearing about taking the long way. May looked around as if hoping to see the newcomers. Chang'an chuckled. They're fine. Was Araya invited to the village? For some reason, Takao allowed it. Be careful not to catch a cold out here. You missed the spot. Still smiling, the old man pointed to some remaining snow on the steps and entered the house. And of course the Jonin won't explain his decisions. However, Takao wouldn't have called him here for nothing. That's for sure. Satoshi and the Ronin appeared on the path. Nodding at May, the shinobi waited off to the side. Araya came closer. Hello, May. MASAMUNE, I'm so glad. We've just arrived. Satoshi is waiting to be escorted to the bathhouse. I'm afraid Kirin and I smell about the same right now. The Ronin handed her something long, wrapped in cloth. I just wanted to make sure you were doing well and give this to you. May unfolded the canvas. There was an elegant parasol inside. Parasol. I don't know. Ooh. I like the color of this one more. It doesn't match my current outfit, but still, I like it. We have all sorts of like cool little accessories. Thank you, it's beautiful. My life is a mess, but at least I'm receiving plenty of gifts. May was flustered. She was unaccustomed to such attention. She bowed low, smiled, and bowed again. Thank you. How is Kirin? Good. Someone is waiting for me. Of course. I'm glad I stopped by. Okay, so now what? What kind of information did they find? Or where do we go from here? In the evening, May was called to a large house that stood a little further from the village. Some kind of common room where they gather for discussions? No, it would have been closer then. This is probably where guests of the clan come. Maybe a bit of both? The first time I stayed at Chang'an's house because I needed medical treatment. Then there was no point in changing anything, and MASAMUNE is probably staying here. KAZU distracted her from her thoughts. Sit down. Takao's on his way now. Araya silently smiled at her. May. Good evening. May bowed and approached the hearth. Only those who are aware of events regarding me and the Ryoge are present. The Jonin soon appeared from the depths of the house, either he was in another room or there was more than one entrance. Greetings, everyone. Let's start with the news brought by Hong and MASAMUNE. Please, repeat for the others what you have told me. Takuma Goto's connections clearly led to the capital. Most importantly, it's not about the run-of-the-mill officials. Someone influenced the daimyo himself. I learned that it was by his order that the advisor had to reckon with the guard. It turns out that the opinion of Takuma Goto's patron was more important to the daimyo of the northern province than Kiyosugai's. Wow. This is not good. Finding traces of the other Ryoge, do you have any names? Tracer? None. I don't know if that's fortunate for us or not. It doesn't mean anything anyway. Of course, they are very good at hiding. Ryoge or not, they managed to act covertly. Otherwise, more information would have surfaced. The capital is a big city, plenty of influential people. The Shogun's residence is there too. Did you mention the Shogun for a reason? May, can you repeat what you told me? She was surprised. Of course. Why do you bring this up now? After listening to May, the Ronin frowned. The Shogun convinced the Emperor and his advisors of the need for a new tax. He personally controls a collection of funds. The money is supposed to be used by the Shogun to increase the number of highway patrols to fight robbers. They say that few in the palace are happy about it. After all, the Shogun is expanding his army through this measure, and thereby his influence. However, lately there have been more bandits, and the taxes had to be introduced. That's right. The tax is not permanent, a one-time measure, but who knows? Regardless, for the peasants of the southern province, this is very bad news. Some will not be able to manage. May looked at KAZU. Sitting in partial shadow, he was silently, seemingly distantly drinking tea. Only in the south? The northern province is the Shogun's home. He bluntly said that there is more order and the roads are safer. Thanks to him, of course. Disorder in the south. This means that if the people there want peace, only they have to pay, not the whole empire. Traditionally, there are fewer gangs on the islands. There are fewer forests, nowhere to hide. Do you see a connection? Between the gatekeeper's servant, a Ryoge who lived in the body of the guard, and the Shogun, whose samurai are robbing villages. I don't see a direct connection. KAZU? The ninja was looking at the smoke coming from the fire. The wind blows only from one direction. From the capital? But this does not necessarily have to be connected. Not necessarily. The sorcerer suddenly looked intently at Arai. MASAMUNE? May also turned to the Ronin. He looked more brooding and even more serious than usual. Takao, you showed me the clan's village. I'm not asking what that means. You may have already decided to sign the proposed contract. Perhaps, on the contrary, you do not intend to take up the search for the gatekeeper, and you're going to get rid of me. But it's much more convenient to do so here. An invitation was not given, so according to custom, the laws of hospitality do not apply to me. Takao waited without commenting on his words. However, I'll tell you something. You're looking for a connection? When I became a samurai, I was immediately recruited by Master Mokichi Eken. Is that like the master, or like just one of them along the way? The most honorable person I've ever known. He was looking for an assistant. My father's recommendations and impeccable reputation were beneficial, and he held great honor. The Ronin looked around the room. No one interrupted. Many would have wished for their sons to be in his service if he had shown how rich he was. I quickly realized my master was receiving a sizable salary. A salary? From whom? From the shogun. Mokichi Eken was his direct subordinate. However, I never had a chance to visit the castle of the commander-in-chief of the Empire's army. As soon as I made my oath of allegiance, we set out to carry out the shogun's orders. I didn't ask too much, but my master rewarded me with trust, not hiding his goals from me. A number of samurai had to be found and delivered to the shogun. We soon learned that at least some of them were in Aogawara village when the incident happened there. I didn't know what that was about back then. I remembered that this was the place Satoshi had mentioned on the way to the shinobi's hideout, and MASAMUNE had mentioned some circumstances. We had a long list of names and traveled across all 3 provinces, but every time we found a trace of someone, it turned out that person was no longer alive. One was stabbed to death in an alley, and the coin pouch was gone. Another fell off a horse and twisted his neck. Someone was drunk and drowned, someone hanged himself, another ate the wrong mushrooms and died from it. The rest were in similar states. 3 disappeared without a trace. After visiting another grave, I decided to ask a question. My master told me about, Aogawara. Why is this place famous? What happened there? Nothing good. It was an ordinary, quiet village in the southern province. A few years before I met Mokichi Eken, that is, when I myself was still a child, samurai killed everyone there. Women and children as well. It was very cruel. There were rumors that they were punished for harboring a criminal, but those were just rumors. Nobody knew the true reasons, or they were keeping them to themselves. It seemed to me that KAZU's gaze hardened. They tried to talk about it, not very noble. Satoshi winced. After a short pause, the Ronin continued. I assumed that years after the incident, the shogun learned the names of the guilty samurai and wanted to punish them, or interrogate them. And someone got ahead of us. While collecting the information about the dead, we came across the name of an official from the capital several times. The wanted samurai all fell into his circle at one time or another for different reasons. They worked with him or had a close acquaintance. Some were in his service, but then somehow left it. It was unusual. Mokichi Eken couldn't come back empty-handed. I decided to find at least that official. What happened? We found out that having vacated his position long ago, he was living in a quiet place in the outskirts. We arrived there. The house stood apart from the others. Before knocking, Mokichi Eken looked around. Attentive eyes flashed under his hat. What do you say? His young assistant and student spoke quietly. It doesn't look like he has servants. The yard looked completely unkempt. Strange for a retired official. You're right, strange. Well, let's meet the owner. An elderly man with an unkempt beard opened the door. State your business. You don't greet samurai very politely, Master Takijiro Wada. State your business. I am Mokichi Eken. This weather isn't the best for a conversation outside. Won't you invite us in? The official ignored his question. MASAMUNE did not show his emotions, although he would have gladly taught this person who showed so disrespect toward his master a lesson. Very well, we'll talk here. Do you know the following people? He began listing names, but Wada interrupted. I haven't seen anyone for a long time. I don't know what they're doing now. That doesn't matter. We're just interested in old events. I don't want to chat with you for nothing. It's raining. The damp is bad for my bone. That's why we have to go inside. Usually calm like a monk, Mokichi Eken stepped forward, placing his right palm on the hilt of his sword. Then it's in your best interest to answer my questions as quickly as possible. Why did these samurai die one by one? The official inexplicably bent his fingers as if gripping invisible apples. Don't poke your nose where it doesn't belong. That's my advice to you. Araya gritted his teeth but didn't dare interfere. Are they connected by something other than Aogawara? You're both soaked. Further along the road there's an inn. You should go there. Eken's patience had reached its limit. His blade was halfway drawn from its scabbard. Takejiro Wada moved his arm slightly, sharply straightening his fingers. The samurai flew back as though a horse had hit him. Master? Araya attacked, blood splattered across the porch in a vivid arc. Masamune's sword whistled again. Its edge grazed the official, leaving the thinnest cut on his neck. At the last moment, he dodged, twisting himself away from the blow. Mokichi stood, staggering but gripping his katana tightly. He tried to circle behind his enemy. A wriggling whip of green flames rushed toward him from Wada's hand. Masamune was not afraid of witchcraft. The severed lash of flames died down. As if convulsing, the flame jerked for the last time and grazed the wall of the shed as it hit Eken. The shed caught fire as if it were made of dry straw. Arai didn't get to strike again. He was thrown back into the post that supported the porch's canopy. There was a dreary creak as the support tilted. Crumbling boards crashed into Masamune from above. Then a beam fell on his legs. The pain blinded and paralyzed him. Lying on his side, he could only look on through the red haze in front of his eyes. Eken, burnt, his clothes smoldering, tried to get up again. Takejiro kicked him, knocking him backward. You know what? It just occurred to me. This is where his master died, so this is the guy that he's looking for. Let me quickly jot down his name. Knocking him backward, he leaned over him with a knife in his hand. A disgusting burning smell filled the damp air. The barn was already completely engulfed. Masamune tensed, trying to move. A searing needle of pain pierced his body. At least one of his legs was broken. Blood was flowing down his knee. His vision was going dark. Wada stood with his back to Arai. The young samurai did not see his face. He only heard the voice. It imprinted on his memory like a red-hot brand, growling, screeching hysterically with anger. Looks like I'll be having roast meat for dinner. The figure of the official suddenly changed. His shoulders broadened and he became taller. His skin took on a blue tint. Horns appeared among his hair. Takejiro raised his hand to his face, then he lowered it. There was a strange mask in his clawed palm. His name was engraved on the back of it. I was just about to eat. The creature licked his lips loudly. Who are you? Did the pain make you forget my name? Takejiro Wada was human. You aren't. I was him once. I did tell you to mind your own business. What makes you think you can compete with an Oni, a samurai? The former official turned his head sharply, peering into the veil of rain. Because of you, I will have to find a new home. People have noticed the smoke. They'll come soon. If not for that, you would have died faster. The Oni swung the knife. Mokichi Eken bent over, straining heavily. Arai wheezed. Not dead yet? Nearby people shouted. The neighbors were rushing to put out the fire. Mr. Takejiro Wada! Get the buckets, hurry! Masamune looked at the human silhouettes. The Oni was no longer in the yard. The young samurai heard how painfully and slowly his master was dying. Then his eyes closed and silence fell. Only cold drops of rain fell on his face. Is that his real name? Yes, I found that out later. People turn into Oni. It's different from the Ryoge, who possess people. Why didn't you find him based on his description? Did you see his face? They can change their faces with magic. Like makeup? Yes. Hong nodded his thanks for the clarification. Takejiro Wada wasn't a nobody. However, many people remember him because of an investigation into the disappearance of several townspeople, girls. The case never came to court. Whether someone interfered or a bribe helped, I don't know. By the way, the investigation was conducted shortly before the events in Aogawara. You think that's when he stopped being human? Perhaps. I doubt it matters now. I still don't know why the Shogun needed those samurai. However, there is a connection, albeit an indirect one. Right. It's a little confusing, but the main points can't be missed. For some reason, the Shogun ordered Masamune's master to find the samurai connected with an official who turned into an Oni. Also, these same samurai linked to the murders in Aogawara. And none of them survived to this day. They all died for one reason or another. Also, all the wind, as KAZU said, blows from the south. Collecting taxes to pay for the Shogun's army, the looting, the official, the village. May hesitated, slightly embarrassed under the gaze of those present, and finished her thoughts somewhat shakily. This doesn't sound like a coincidence. It sounded like she had gotten the general idea. And the Ryoge has connections in the south. This is definitely something. May didn't believe in her ability to read anything in the Jonin's eyes. However, she felt that Takao didn't say everything he was thinking. And for some time now, as if by chance, he had been looking intently at KAZU. Would I be wrong if I said that you know more about Aogawara than anyone else? You are correct, attentive one. Do you still remember anyone from the list? KAZU mentioned several names. Yes, those are them. Although the list was no longer. Shinobi nodded and put down his empty cup. All the samurai who killed the inhabitants of Aogawara were human. There were no Oni among them. Mind completing the story? The ninja shrugged indifferently. A woman came to Aogawara, frightened, with a child in her arms. She was in a hurry. The fishermen took her across the river. Horsemen arrived the next day. They asked about her. The leader directed the chase in the wrong direction. Looked at the surprised Ronin. What? The fishermen dared to lie to the warriors? Quite. They took pity on the mother, the child. That wasn't something you could get killed for. At least not until then. It was quiet for several days. Then the samurai returned and learned about the deception. The village was punished. That's it. It's clear he was there. It's definitely clear he was there. Who's the mother and the child? Was it me? Was it me? Aren't we from the southern province? Is it far from here? Ooh, I want to ask you, were you there? He might get upset. Kind of no confirmation. But, I mean, this seems kind of like an obvious question. I don't know. His voice was even. Yes. Okay. It was no village in Sin, further south of Okugami. KAZU made a vague gesture. Comparatively, not far. The death of those warriors, the alleged accidents and disappearances. Was that revenge? The ninja didn't reply. KAZU looked into her eyes and May understood the answer. He had already heard about the fate of his former friends and, leaving home, he carefully hid. Without stopping anywhere for long, he stayed at inns, shamefully disguised under the false names. He had stopped trying to figure out what was going on long ago. Everyone who had visited Aogawara many years ago was cursed. They were haunted by death. In alleyways, at home, at a festival table, and even at their own hands. Fear for his own life pushed him to humiliating wanderings, constantly traveling and hiding. One could hope to outwit death. I'll spend the night here. Sunset caught the samurai on a mountain pass. The man unsaddled his horse. He fed it before tying it to a low pine tree. Only then did he make a fire. After pulling water from a nearby stream, he hung a pot over the fire and sat down on a rolled blanket. He involuntarily turned to face the forest. Darkness was rapidly gathering in the depths of the trees. He shivered. His surroundings were calm, safe, but the fear persistently pursuing him took its toll. The water started boiling. The samurai poured rice and dried vegetables into it. The cold wind that ascended from the snow-capped peaks shifted the hair on the back of his head. What hair? He's bald! Or was it because of someone else's gaze? Ain't no hair up there! Bro! He turned sharply again. Nothing had changed in the forest. I need a drink. It helped. Not a single evening had gone by without strong drinks in recent months. Reaching for the bag, the man took out a flask. He uncorked it and raised his hand, taking a swig. In the next instant, he felt a stabbing blow beneath his arm, and immediately another one. His hand jerked with a convulsion from the sharp pain. The flask fell into the coals. His reflexes kicked in. The samurai rolled right from the blanket onto the ground, jumped up and drew his sword. Before him stood a figure in dark clothing with their face covered. That's him. And plus it says ninja. I can tell from his eyes. Oh Lord. So did he decide to just go around and systematically kill the people involved? For a moment, it seemed like a ghost attacked him. A yokai. He was mistaken. The unusual outfit left only one possibility. Shinobi. A knife glittered dimly in the ninja's hand. Thick drops were falling from the blade. Judging by his height and build, he was very young. A teenager. The samurai rushed forward in a rage, raising his katana and dropping it. His fingers went numb. They couldn't grip the handle. The weapon fell into the grass. Only now did the man notice that his kimono was darkened with blood. His entire right side was wet. He felt cold. The samurai staggered, trying to hold the wound closed. It didn't work. Life was spilling out of him in gouts, staining his fingers red. The killer didn't move, looking into his eyes. Who are you? Who hired you? His legs buckling, samurai collapsed to the ground. He reached for the sword with his left hand, lunged in a desperate, senseless attempt to reach his enemy. But he couldn't reach, only sprawled pitifully on the grass. The ninja did not move. The pain was gone, leaving behind the cold and sticky fear. Have mercy. I can pay you. I will pay more. Just do something. His killer silently approached and squatted down. The eyes in the slit of the mask were absolutely indifferent, unsettling. They had seen too many deaths. He no longer had any strength to move. For a few moments, the shinobi looked at the samurai's rapidly paling face, then wiped his blade on the samurai's clothes. He stood, still not making a sound. Dude. All the CG this time. Oh, okay. The ninja approached the horse. The man heard a quiet, rough cough. Don't be afraid, Spotty. You'll take me to the main road, and then I will sell you to someone better. And the samurai's consciousness faded. You did all... That is... I'm sorry. Seeing his calmness, she regretted asking the question. He responded with a dry statement. All of them. Silence hung in the room for a while. Satoshi looked at the Jonin. Any errands? Not now. Then Takao addressed me. Mate, if the Shogun has anything to do with your case, if your actions, even good ones, go against his interest, you do understand that you will be accused of treason and conspiracy against the Empire. Yeah, I've already been over this with KAZU. Okay, a lot happened, because we got a lot of backstory for both KAZU and MASAMUNE. So we kind of got to see like their like big traumatic moments for his. Well, we didn't get to see how KAZU reacted when the massacre happened in that village, but we saw the result of it and what pushed him into being going into the shinobi. Kind of a better idea of why he is the way he is right now. And it's interesting that all of their stories are kind of tied together. I'm gonna go ahead and theorized that the mother and the child that were fleeing were May's mother and May. And so it's interesting because that village protected May and her mother, KAZU's village was destroyed. And because of that, MASAMUNE's master had to go look into it, and MASAMUNE's master was killed. So it all comes back to her in a sense. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? That's pretty crazy. I was gonna do episode 6 as well. I'm sorry, I'm kind of tired. I'm going to go ahead and do that one tomorrow. See if I can do that tomorrow morning. But yeah. Wow, that was pretty crazy. We learned a lot. We got to know a lot. We know the name of the enemy that MASAMUNE is looking for. So we can kind of be on the lookout for him as well. There's a lot going on with all the officials and stuff. It is a bit confusing. There's a lot of names, a lot of different things, terms and things like that I'm not completely familiar with, but I'm trying to do my best to keep up with everything that's going on. I think I got, like I said, I think I got the main points, like I said. Yeah. So it's very interesting. It's a lot to digest. It's a very long chapter, but it was very interesting, and got a lot of information. We got a lot of gorgeous CGs to look at. The images were nice. I'm gonna have my pick of the litter when I'm trying to pick for the thumbnail. So that's interesting. But yeah, let's go ahead and end this one right here. For now, I'm gonna take a break and try to process all of that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and try the like button, some love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!